That's not constitutional. When did George Washington and Madison and Monroe sit down and say, you know what? We're going to be able to tell Americans to buy whatever we want them to buy, and if not, we can clap them in prison? That's crazy.
I'd kind of like to know when the first medical insurance policy was issued in America.
It doesn't matter. The point is that the United States government, the law was, can the American government compel you to buy something against your will? And if not, if you don't carry it out, can the American government fine you? And if you don't pay the fine, put you in prison? That's crazy.
Well, do you find the same, you don't...
Roll back.
Do you think the IRS has any authority? Now, I know you don't like Lois Lerner and all that shit, but...
Roll back.
The idea, do you...
Turn your head more this way? Not that much? Perfect. Okay. So so that's one thing. Another
But
thing
hold
that
on, do you
Roberts
think the
did...
IRS has authority over people? That, we need tax revenue to have the country function.
Yeah, you're supposed to pay taxes.
Well-
I don't agree, frankly, with the amendment that created the IRS by Woodrow Wilson, another evil Democrat. I mean, I don't think we should have an IRS. I think we should, because unfortunately, the Democrats have corrupted it and turned it into a way of harassing the political opponents of the Democrat Party. So I think we need to end it because it's created.
So what do you do?
I think we should have sales tax.
All right. So I mean, like Britain with value added.
Yeah, but they also have an internal revenue as well. I think it should just be taxes.
Yeah, but that's not
on the products.
That's
that you
not
buy.
a progressive tax.
Well,
because poor people have to spend more of their income on
right.
shit.
And I think that what they should do to compensate them is say things like food, maybe housing, maybe medicine, things like that shouldn't be taxed. So it would just be, they'd have to work it out. But there are ways of giving extremely poor people an advantage, and that's okay.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't. No, it's not going to happen.
But let me just point out that the only thing I don't like that Trump has done is, and I've said this before, but this is very, very important because this is really the crux of the matter. Right now, we may be in a situation where there could be a nuclear war of some kind. Now, I don't think it's going to happen.
With North Korea.
Right. And I don't think it's going to happen. And the reason I don't think it's going to happen is because everyone knows that you can't take a risk. So in other words, let me put it this way. It doesn't matter who's in office. Trump, my hero Cruz, Obama, Bernie Sanders, it doesn't matter. Anybody that can't solve the North Korean situation or fucks it up incredibly badly will go down in history as a disaster. Anybody that solves that will be our greatest president, or one of them. And the reason is that it's an intractable situation.
Yeah, okay.
So let me put it this way. If under normal circumstances, I think Trump would be as great a president as Reagan. But if it could all change overnight if the Korean situation goes badly. And it
Hold
might...
on, as a liberal, I just got to interject and
yes,
say,
you go ahead.
Reagan was an incredibly charismatic president with really awesome hair, and he said a great, funny thing after he got almost assassinated.
What did he say?
He said, "Honey, I forgot to duck."
Oh,
to
okay.
Mrs. Reagan.
So he was funny.
But I don't like what he brought upon the country.
6% growth rate.
Fine, but he brought in a lot of policies. He would be appalled by the current situation too, but he helped initiate it.
Let me put it to you this way. In the 8 years that Obama was president, the growth rate never got to 3%. It was 6% under Reagan. So that means the economy was booming, absolutely booming.
Are you saying an average 6%? Because for the first 2 years of his
presidency, it was low.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody gave him any, everyone thought he was a loser. And then by the time after 4 years, the economy started to do so well that he started beating Democrats in landslides.
Well, you know who else had a really good economy was Bill Clinton.
Yeah, but there were reasons for that.
Also,
I mean,
reasons under Reagan. I mean, the technological revolution that we're still undergoing, really started kicking in under Reagan.
No, it was, he had a lot of disadvantages. The Cold War was still on. The reason that the economy did better under Clinton, I believe, I'm not an economist, was because the Cold War ended under George Bush Sr.
Could be.
And so when Clinton took over, he could reduce the military spending, and there was technological innovation. I don't know exactly why it improved, but Clinton was a lucky president. There weren't any serious problems during his presidency.
I can't argue with that.
Thank you. Well, anyway,
But hold on, let's
okay, go ahead.
before we go too far past it. You and I grew up. You were born in what, 61? I was born in 60.
I was born in 1960.
Oh, both of us. Okay.
The reason I say that, I make a big deal about it, is because on the internet, for some reason, it keeps saying 61. And you can't change it. Once it's on the internet, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not 61, but I think it's funny.
Well, the internet says I'm addicted to porn, which I am not. And I'm not. Somebody did a story about me and they lied. They made up a whole thing. Basically, what they misinterpreted a comment. I was being sarcastic. They said, this reporter asked, "How do you get any sleep? Since you're spending all night, every night, like on IQ tests, trying to become the smartest man in the world?" I'm like, well, that's not the case. At most, when I'm working on one of those things, it's maybe 45 minutes a day. And then she asks the same question again a few hours later, and I'm annoyed. And I say, frankly, I spend more time looking at porn than I do on IQ tests. Which was a joke, but guys do look at porn. I'm a guy, but because they were pissed off at me, and because they worked for fucking Fox, they turned that into me being addicted to porn, and that was the sub headline, right below the main headline.
Well, okay, wait a minute. Fox didn't know you were a liberal then. Why would they be mad at you?
I just think they were sloppy. They were mad at me because it was a whole thing where, yeah, you can do a story on me, but I have to insist. I'll only give you consent to do the story, my consent, if you don't mention where I work, because that will get me in big trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, okay, fine. And then they call me right before the story's supposed to come out, or when they're working on it, and they say, well, we're going to say where you work. And I said, no, you promised. You can't break your promise. And we argue, and they go, well, yeah, but anybody can Google you and find out where you work. And I'm like, doesn't matter. If where I work appears in that story, I will be in huge trouble at work. And we argued for like 10 days. And I finally got them, the editor got involved, and I said, you promised, you cannot. And so they were all cranky with me because I wasn't going to let them run where I worked. So they kind of said I was addicted to porn.
Now, what do you consider being addicted to porn, and what's normal?
I don't know what's normal is. I don't know what's statistically normal. And there's a quiz you can go online. You can take a quiz and find out, are you addicted to porn?
Okay.
It's got behaviors like, are you having to hide from your family, and are you, spending money that your family doesn't know about? And it's the same kind of addictive behavior as somebody who's addicted to a substance. Mm-hmm. And no, that's not me. Especially since, I take a drug for my prostate and to keep my hair that actually may lower my libido. So I'm halfway chemically castrated anyway, which at some points meant that I would I don't want to talk about my habits. But,
Okay.
But no, I'm not. And I might look, now that I'm halfway chemically castrated, and now that I'm 57 years old, I might look at porn 3 times a week. I shouldn't be talking about this, but that's.
Well, okay. All right, so you can't run for president, but that's okay.
I don't know,
three
Ciccolina.
times a week.
Jeff Koons, the artist Jeff Koons' ex-wife, won a seat in Italian Parliament and was a porn star.
Right, right. Okay.
So,
Well,
but anyway, not addicted to porn.
by the way, I just wanted to say for those, since this is partly educational, I learned a trick from a lawyer. We were having a debate, and I said something sarcastic, like, what do you think I am, a racist or something like that? And he said, yes. You know, so whenever you're arguing with a lawyer
Or a
a
journalist.
journalist, never say anything that's flippant. Like,
That's right, yeah.
you know, like, because as soon as you say it, even if it's a joke, they will immediately write that, like you meant that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they teach them that in law school. Like if you're in court and somebody says, yeah, well, what do you, I'm sure I'm a murderer, you know, and I'm also a child killer. And, you know, then they'll say, oh, so you admit it.
I think what you want to do in depositions is
Yeah.
only answer precisely the
Yeah.
question they ask you, and if they piss you off, just hit them.
Right. Never say anything because you're upset that is an exaggeration. Like, sure, I'm also a pirate, you know, and don't do that. They'll use that.